Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another Thursday talk. So today you have a treat on this workshop on equanimity. I know we always want to find some kind of balance in our life. So today, Sister Inez will be walking us through on how to find that, no matter what the situation is that's around you. And I know, especially in New York right now, you have a lot of smoke and a lot of different things that you're dealing with. So it might be a good time for this class to help us to be able to maintain that balance, that inner equilibrium and equanimity. We have a couple of other classes that are coming up, but for all of those that are joining live on Zoom, very warm welcome. For the ones that have actually made it to the center, congratulations, especially if you did brave the weather and the elements out there. But for YouTube and Facebook, we're so glad that you actually join us every week, and we're glad to see you. So we do have a couple of classes that are coming up. There is our 7-day Reviving the Higher Self that's going to be at the end of June and going into July. But then we also have a shorter 2-day course that's coming up as well in July. So if anybody is interested, once you hear this session and you want to go a little bit deeper into the practices and just get the answers for yourself, feel free to go to our website and sign up for any of those classes. And just wanted to give everybody an update before we get started that we do have a little bit of a technical difficulties, sometimes not with the camera. So if the camera switches off, just be patient. We will get you back online. We know we had this incident last week, but we just wanted to prepare everybody. We are not going anywhere, but we're just going to balance through the equanimity of technical difficulties. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sister Inez.
Dear Suja, thank you for your nice introduction, and welcome to everyone. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
We have 3 beautiful flowers here at the center. And we have many of you beautiful flowers on Zoom. I hope you are okay, me calling you a flower, but a flower, you're a rose flower, gives very good fragrance. It's only the best. That's one synonym that we hear in our daily morning classes, that we are becoming from thorns, flowers. Thorns prick, and then there is pain. But flowers, they are beautiful. Can be a bud first, or will be a bud first, but then gradually it opens and shows its full beauty and complete fragrance. And like the sun is just giving, right? Life is a lot, if not all, about giving. But not just physical things, but here we are learning also about the giving of the self in a different way. If I am a flower gives itself to everyone just by being in its own beauty, in its own uniqueness. And everyone it's there for everyone. But if I have no patience, or if I want to have everything, if I don't feel that richness inside, I will want to pick it. And then that beautiful fragrant flower that's there for everyone to take benefit from, I want to own it. And by cutting it, I even reduce its lifespan. And I think that's a lot what we do in life. Ignorantly, not necessarily intentionally, but now we live in a time where we become more and more, where we can learn more and more about a deeper truth, a more subtle truth, deeper understanding of the self, of how things are in life, how things work, and connect with a deeper meaning and also a higher purpose than just going through life and trying to fulfill my own desires, running after my desires, pleasing others, wanting this, wanting that, wanting to be here and there, and wanting to have and needing to have this and that. So then there's no contentment. And if there's that drive from, even like, you know, it's very important to have an aim, long-term, short-term aims, goals, you work towards them. But life is not all about achieving. I know from my own self, somehow it was in my fortune and that was possible, you know, pass through school, go to university, do PhD and all of that. And then I applied for a scholarship, which I never ever thought I will get. But this thought was in my mind, and I didn't know where it came from, to just go to New York. And so the only way to come to New York from Europe for me was to have a fellowship, to look for a lab space here. And everything worked out miraculously, magically. But retrospective, then also I came to understand that my coming here, the purpose was to actually get in touch with the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, and my spiritual journey started. So why I mentioned this, that I did not everything, I did few things in life, also in sports and so. But I never, whenever I accomplished something, I remember one time I went with a friend by bicycle from Austria to Rome in Italy. And drive by hike, not hiking, cycling there was I really enjoyed it. But after having accomplished it, that was just one of those things I could never enjoy. And I think it's maybe something that happens to many of us. We are kind of driven of wanting, needing, believing, I have to accomplish this, I have to achieve that, I have to be like this and not like that. But how much am I actually able to be myself and be content and have an aim you accomplish, enjoy, and use it for a higher purpose, use it for in a worthwhile way, you know. And when there is this inner restlessness where I am driven by actually desires and need maybe to prove myself, if I, as a child, never got that full and complete acceptance from the parents, right? I will, for the rest of my life, I will always try to prove myself by achieving this, accomplishing that. That inner little child still craving for that approval, for that acknowledgement. And when this is just one example, right? When we live our lives in this way, then we become very weak. And when we are weak, then the mind becomes very reactive. The mind becomes very reactive, constantly reacting, and never satisfied, and creates a lot of discontent within the self. And we all know when there are these emotional reactions, it's not very pleasant. It's like a roller coaster. And we don't know what can trigger what emotions, right? And how will I be? And sometimes we can even get a little bit afraid of the self because I don't know how will I be able to deal with that situation or not, and this and that. But our topic tonight is equanimity. So, an important learning for me on the journey is that aspect of becoming more balanced or neutral. Using these words to maybe give more meaning to, actually the word equanimity has its own meaning already, right? And it refers to mental and emotional stability, even under at times of stress, challenging moments, challenging situations, and you able to remain stable within. And this is a quality that is very, very important. There's contentment, but then there is that attitude of equanimity, that attitude of being neutral. And it starts with the self. And it doesn't mean that I deny certain things, certain aspects in the self. It's not that I ignore them or want to push them away like we used to do in the past, suppress them. In the mindful practice, mindful meditation, one aim is to remain stable in the present moment. But we don't only want to work with energy and to hold the self present in this way by focusing on certain aspects, but we want to remain present based on an inner state of calm, of peace, of love, contentment, harmony. Coming from a deeper understanding of the self and of life allows me to develop perspectives where I'm able to understand and calm down the self. There's no need to react because there's understanding. Many times we try to control the uncontrollable. Most of the things in life is out of our control, but We want to have certain things, people in a certain way, doing certain things or not doing certain things. And so we are constantly trying to fix, to control, to manipulate. Strong words, but bottom line, in a way, this is a lot of what is going on in our relationships with others and also with the environment. Quality of life increases once we are able to be in our power and to have inner power, to be spiritually strong. One sign of that is, for example, that there will be an attitude, you will be able to remain calm and respond instead of just reacting. You know, I will consider before I act. So there is some wisdom that is incorporated in my response. I'm not just reacting haphazardly. And to have this attitude of neutrality, of being balanced, having a balanced perspective, to have this equanimity is a big aspect, a main aspect of having that inner experience. And how can we achieve that? How is it possible? And for me, one of the main fascinating aspect on the spiritual journey is really learning and exploring the self, reconnecting to the self, learning about myself, understanding myself, and without anyone having to tell me who I am, what I need to do. But that space to discover. But yes, there are directions in our spiritual study. But every point of knowledge that I'm listening to is actually pointing inward. It's asking me to go within and explore within myself what is really true for me. You know? But there is that concept, and I will share that with you, and maybe most likely some of you are already very familiar with it, is about that whole aspect of our spiritual identity. Everything starts with the self. Whatever is going on within, sooner or later, it will be revealed through my actions, through my expression. However, I work with myself, positive or not so positive, if I have a friendly, encouraging relationship with myself or not, equally, with the same attitude, I will relate to others. I can understand the world only truly if I understand myself. And a very new aspect within that is that we receive the teachings. Teachings is information, is knowledge, right? It's external, but that information is telling me that at the core of my being, at the heart of my being, I am a being of goodness. When I connect to my spiritual identity. And that is true for everyone. That's why, for example, the Brahma Kumaris, we have people from all faiths, from all different religions, cultures. rich, poor, young, old, everyone's coming together. And we all benefit from this aspect of learning about our spiritual identity, because this is where we connect in what we have in common, independent of upbringing, independent of the culture, the religion I grew up in. It's true for everyone. Physical identity is so different, yeah? Even here, we are probably from four different cultures. Guyana, India, American, European. You know, a lot of difference. But in each of these bodies, there's a living energy, there's spiritual being, the soul that I am. And that soul, the innate qualities of that living energy, of that conscious being, of spiritual light, is of peace, is of actually purity. I'm pure, clean, peace, loveful, joyful, blissful, wise, strong. And we all have the right to be peaceful, to be happy. But as a spiritual being, I understand that I don't have the right to demand it from the outside, but actually I have it already within me, and I need to go within, deep within my own consciousness, and connect to that truth and make it a reality, bring it out, connect with it and use it. So if we connect to the self as a source of goodness and nothing but goodness, nothing but light, we start at the highest level. And it gives me an aim of reconnecting to that, returning to that, re-emerging it, not reinventing. And it will influence the way what I think, the way I think, my thought processes, and then, of course, my attitudes, feelings, intentions, motivations, awareness, vision, and then eventually what I do in this world. If I consider myself to be lacking in something, I will always want it. If I think I don't have peace, I'm not peaceful, I will want it. And I will search the whole world for it. And maybe never find it. So when we start from a place of fullness, then my thoughts, the thoughts themselves and my thought process is one that is complete, that is full, that has strength, that has potential, has power. And if harmony, if unity this is a natural state of being, then anything that takes me away from that inner peace is not natural, does not belong to me. And now, if I hold a vision, if my vision for myself is focused on what I don't have, what I want, what is lacking, of what I'm not doing so good, it creates a big problem. And then the other side is where I become arrogant. Either I am nothing or I am everything. this is when we identify ourselves with our physical identity. And then I can never really reach a place of inner calm and serenity and stability, where I continuously in a state of peace and love and joy. Even though maybe, some extra thoughts are going on, my mind's a little bit unhappy, I still can be stable within if I know how to deal with it. Maybe we will talk a little bit about that. In order to experience inner peace, I do not have to be perfect. But I need to have the faith that my original state of being is of complete light, of complete peace, complete love. And that will allow me to extend these moments, times when I experience that peace. Now, we were saying if my vision towards myself is crooked, is defective, because it is about my defects, about my shortcomings, about what I want, what I need, what I don't have. Now that creates a problem for myself. And then just think about it. I'm using the same vision for others. What is it I am connecting with? If I connect with you only at the superficial level, what my eyes see, there's so many differences, then comparison will come in, maybe even jealousy. Some kind of maybe sadness. Oh, I do not have what you have. I also want to have that. You know? If I hold a vision of weakness for myself, this is what I'm connecting with, within myself and in others. And that is my downfall. Either I connect to the weaknesses or I start to believe that I have a right over you. Now that's when the arrogance comes in, where I believe I am more than you. We are oscillating, this way. We are oscillating between the arrogance and the inferior part. But if I can grasp, if I allow myself to grasp and to experiment with and to believe that, why not? Whenever I started my journey, I'm this beautiful light. It was a reality. Why not? What's the worst thing that can happen to me if I take a courage in that direction? It will touch my heart, because I will realize when I listen within, it's like, oh my God, I've been laboring, I have been making so much effort, I have been holding so many things. I'm actually not really happy. There's pain. Now, when I connect to the light within myself, it's like I'm giving permission to myself to become free of that, of what is not true to me. You understand? And when I connect, when that whole concept of my spiritual identity, of being that full and complete of and with all the goodness, if I consider that as an aspect of truth for myself, then gradually I will also have the courage and the strength gradually to have that thought and that vision for others. And for life's situation. And so what is happening, that I'm coming from a place deep within where I feel safe and secure because I'm connected to my own light, a light of peace, of love. And actually, I belong to the ocean of love, the ocean of peace, the ocean of mercy, the higher power, that source. That's a whole different aspect. And so I'm coming from a place, I'm connecting, because I'm connecting to my highest potential. That is where I now am able to release, relax, and experience inner peace, because I do not perceive anything, anyone anymore as a threat. I can feel safe within myself, secure within my own self. And the more I nurture that, I will be able to extend myself from that place of feeling secure. And my entire perspective towards others and towards life starts to change. For me, this is where that equanimity eventually is coming from. Where because I not only know about my own truth of who I truly am, but I'm actually connecting to it. And I start to experience that feeling safe, settled, secure within myself. I don't have to pretend anymore in front of anyone, not in front of myself at least, to begin with. I don't have to tell myself constantly, oh, I did well, I am like this, I am that one. Reaffirming, reassuring my own existence, my own worth, my own value. No, my value is in my innate goodness. And this becomes my self-respect. And that's what we call here, the Brahma Kumaris, being soul conscious. I consider myself to be that soul, that being of light, that being of goodness. This is my true identity. And as a spiritual being, I am in this big body with, however this body looks like, and whatever I've been doing in life, the story that I have been carrying with me based on, what I did in life, how I grew up, and all of these things. It's a reality, but it's not the ultimate reality. At a more subtle, at a more invisible level, at the level of my spiritual identity, at the level of consciousness, that is where the power lies, and everything is moved, directed from that more subtle level. And so what I mean with that is that connecting to myself in this way, I'm learning and coaching myself now to have a self-talk talking to myself in a beneficial way. So with that connection within, I lose fear of darkness. I lose the fear of weakness, of negativity. You see, one thing is I can keep telling myself not to be judgmental, not to be critical, not to be comparing. Everyone is doing their best. Everyone is just playing their own part. Everything and everyone is what it is, or whoever they are. Everything is fine. I can keep telling myself this thing, but it will not work. I still will react because the connection to the inner self, to the true self is lacking. But if I come from deep within, that's my foundation, that pure spot, that pure sacred space within my own consciousness is my safety zone, is my sacred space, is my power. And then from that connection within, I'm connected to my self-value, there is self-respect, there will be self-worth. My worth is not dependent on what I've been doing in the world, the achievements, or what I did not achieve. And if I, for whatever reason, these old tendencies, or for example, getting angry is still there, I haven't conquered it to 100%, but it's much, much less than it used to be. And how am I able to overcome it easily? It comes up, I feel it. I allow myself to feel it because now I know it cannot do anything to me anymore. But if I keep suppressing it, it will haunt me. It's like a snake. It's gonna, the moment will come, I will burst out or whatever. So to have a vision of equanimity for my own self, where I am connected to my potential, but I'm also understanding and aware that there are some weaknesses, there's some habits, some tendencies that are not so healthy, but that's okay. It's no problem, because now I will use my potential, my strength, my gifts and talents, my way of thinking. I will now think in such a way that I will use my goodness to overcome the weakness. You understand? Now, when I'm connected to my potential, I'm working for myself, with myself. I've become a benefactor, master benefactor for myself, because I'm not putting myself down anymore. There's no need. I can have that pure pride of who I truly am, a spiritual being, spiritual light, full of peace and love. And the more I remind myself about it, the more I will be able to become it. I start to use it. And similar then, whether it's any situation, circumstances in life, whether there's a natural calamity or people acting out and this and that, I can have a vision and attitude of equanimity. That means I can remain mentally emotionally stable. There's no need to react. Mental stability means, and emotional stability implies, then there will be clarity in thought also. You will be able to use your wisdom to make a decision. Your inner power. You may even connect to God to get guidance, to get strength, to get some support. Take God into consideration before I make my decision. And so then life's quality changes completely. And we develop that trust that whatever situation comes in front of me is okay. Because now I have experience, now I'm able to rely on my inner resources. Yes, I don't necessarily have the answers to all questions, but I know how to help myself. And it is okay not to know everything. I don't have to prove myself. I have to know everything, and I have to have an answer to everything. That's what the ego does, no? But when I'm in my true self-respect, but it also requires that inner strength which will come because, for example, nowadays is a lot of trauma going on in this world, a lot of problems, and really, really very, very violent and harsh and unpleasant things. But how much you can control that? There's some bigger things going on. It's not in my control. So I must not get lost in it. But if I remain in my power, outside it is what it is. It's not something I'd wished for, but as a matter of fact, it is here. So to view it, perceive it as such, and know that you have a right to be with yourself in a state of inner strength. This is a right that God gives us, because if I'm able to remain within, in my power, in my strength, in my light, now this is how we are able to truly give support, good wishes, have pure feelings towards that person, towards two people, two nations, two people fighting. We serve both because both are doing wrong. Both are not in their truth. But things very complicated nowadays, right? Whatever I cannot control, we know the only thing we can control is really my own self. And what I can truly control is my perception, how I perceive myself and how I perceive life. And one thing also before I pause or stop, the moment you experiment with it, with all the stuff that's going on, whether it's in the immediate world or in the bigger world, with all the stuff that's going on, the moment you connect within and you start to serve, meaning you start to give that peace in form of good wishes, you become a well-wisher. You have pure feelings because you understand they are also beings of light. They are under some influence. They are still ignorant. The moment you serve, the moment you use your mind to have these pure thoughts, these pure feelings towards nature, the environment, and of course, towards human beings, you will not suffer, you will not be confused, you will not be sad. To just see what is going on, and then you start to feel sad or even angry, what's the benefit? We are only adding to the problem, and my sadness or my anger is not going to change anything to the better. So always ask yourself, do I want to contribute to the problem, or do I want to contribute towards a solution? Doesn't mean you have to have a solution. Situations are so complex nowadays that there is not only one solution, and it takes time. But if my mind is working towards a solution, I can have some good thoughts. I can have a smile. I can speak some comforting words without having to fix anything. But the strength is needed to be able to see the wrongdoings, the violence that's happening, right? It takes inner strength to handle that, but understanding is very important. And then just think, that's what I do. Just think about yourself. If I really face, again, for example, the anger, to get angry is a form of violence, right? Or to really tell myself off, or neglect myself, or disregard myself. Some even cause physical harm to themselves. You know, the way we deal with the body, we treat with the body, food, and in many different forms. Now, if I can redirect that, if I can take charge of myself and develop a beneficial relationship with my body, with my emotions, that's where I will learn yes, I will have to tolerate some pain, some physical pain, some emotional pain from time to time until I'm over it. So same then on the outside, a lot needs to be tolerated, so that inner strength. But it doesn't mean we really can do something. It is what it is. But we have to make sure, I have to make sure that under all circumstances, no matter what, I give the best possible. I don't react. I remain calm. I can speak words of encouragement, of hope. I don't need to get angry. I don't need to, compare myself. I don't need to have envy. I don't need to have dislike, but I can be merciful. Yeah. So it all starts with myself and the vision I hold for myself, because based on that, I will talk and deal with myself. And that in the same manner, the same attitudes, the same qualities, naturally, without thinking, I'm using them also for the outer world, relating to people, relating to the elements. And we will be able to have more and more emotional and mental stability, and be in power, where we are able to make decisions that are of benefit. And in this way, you become an example, you become a source of inspiration for others. And it's a very non-violent, beneficial approach. Okay, so I will pause here. See if we have any questions, any comments. Oh, you look so sweet. So much love.
Nothing online so far, Sister Inez.
Okay, that's good too. Shall we close with a meditation? Okay. So we sit comfortably. And get ready for a journey inward. There's the interest to go within and explore myself, my inner world. And connect with my highest potential. For that, I bring the focus of my attention inside, away from the physical world. I give permission to my mind, to my thought energy, to temporarily let go of the different thoughts the mind wants to have, or the places the mind wants to go. Something that I remember. Temporarily, I give permission to put everything on hold. As my interest is to pass through the surface waters and dive deep within the ocean. The conscious mind is so busy all the time. I look at it with a vision of love. I see the busyness, how it is running here and there. So much work all the time with all these many thoughts. Like in the ocean, I now dive through the waves and I go deeper, where the waters become more still and calm. And so as I go deeper within to my own consciousness, I leave behind all these many thoughts, feelings, questions. And I go even deeper. The water is very cool, calm, and still. And that's where I hold my focus. I give attention to that latent potential, that innate goodness of the being. I'm connected to myself, to my spiritual self as a soul. I've gone beyond my physical identity and embracing the more subtle, powerful dimension of the self. It is within my power to have these thoughts about my pure self. I am a pure, peaceful, loveful, happy, wise, and strong soul. I am full and complete within my own self, full of light, full of goodness, and complete. There's nothing lacking. Everything I need in life: peace, happiness, contentment, joy, respect, compassion, sweetness, determination, and many more of those qualities are within. And the more I can embrace that vision of goodness for myself, I can easily let go, detach from what is not healthy, what is not wanted, what is harmful. And so with a vision of mercy, with vision of compassion, I look at myself. I look at the weakness and let go. I disidentify from the anger, the upsetness, the sadness, the frustrations. They are there, but that's not who I am. And from that inner space of power, that place of beautiful light, where I literally choose to be connected with, from that space, I now look at the world around me. It is my choice to see a problem or to actually see the possibilities, see the goodness, create hope, create light. Always remember that if I choose to stay in my own light and connect with the light in others, it becomes a powerful way and means for me to remain happy, to remain light. If I connect to the problem, the weakness, it will enter me. So it is not what people do or don't do. It is what I choose to see. And it is my self-respect to see the best within everyone. Have mercy for the self and everyone else. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Sister, thank you very, very much. Wonderful.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
and stay safe.